So we've spoken about those people who live outside the boundaries of these mawaqeet, of these places where you assume ihram. There are two remaining types of people where they live. There are those people who live from the miqat and let's say another 100 kilometers, Dhul Hulayfa, another 100 kilometers down the road in some small village or something like that. Are they required to go all the way back to Dhul Hulayfa or Abiyad Ali, assume the ihram and then come back for ihram? We'd say no. Anybody who lives within the perimeter of these mawaqeet from where they are, then they will assume the ihram from where they live. As the Prophet said, whoever's duna dhalik famin haythu ansha. That whoever person who is within these boundaries, then they assume the ihram from wherever they are. So you're not living in Makkah. Ahlul Makkah have a different ruling. But the people who live between the boundaries of the mawaqeet and all the way up to Makkah, they assume the ihram from wherever they are.
Okay.
طيب. That's the second category of people. The third category of people is Ahlul Makkah themselves. Where do they assume their ihram from? The people of Makkah, they are required to go to the closest place of Hil. They are required to go to just outside, the closest place which is outside the haram itself, and assume their ihram from that particular place. Why? We know that the Prophet ﷺ said to Aisha radiallahu anha when she was on her monthly cycle to assume her ihram, and the Prophet ﷺ asked the brother of Aisha to take her to a place called Tan'im, which is now commonly known as Masjid Tan'im, which has no known virtue. So a person, when they went to Makkah and says, "Oh, did you go and pray in Masjid Tan'im?" As though there is some virtue. There's no virtue there. It's just a masjid actually is outside the haram itself. But there's a very, very beautiful masjid there, no? And you can go there, there are facilities for people to, for showering and to assume the ihram there and to come back in to perform their umrah. So the people of Makkah, they will leave Makkah, the closest place, or the easiest place is to go to that area, Tan'im. It's also given a name as Masjid Aisha as well, as given that name as well. You can go there, you put your clothes of ihram on, you assume your ihram, and then you come back into the haram itself and you perform the pilgrimage that you intended.
SubhanAllah. So there are actually, in reality, there are three categories that we're talking about. People who live outside the mawaqeet, people who live inside the mawaqeet but outside Mecca, and then there are those who live inside Mecca itself.
That's correct. Exactly.
What about the famous debate of that the haram or anywhere in Mecca is the haram? How does that fall? Or
yeah, that is the case. I mean, all of Mecca is considered haram. We know in the sound hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said that the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam was to make Makkah all haram, and it was given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make Medina al-haram. And likewise Medina is also al-haram. So all of Makkah is and has boundaries. It has a very clear boundary as to what the haram actually is. And as I mentioned, that if a person who lives in Makkah is from Ahlul Makkah, the people of Makkah, they're required to go to the outside of the haram itself, assume the ihram from there, and then they come in to perform their pilgrimage.